how much money would you say you have into this car right now?
Just thinking about it, it's crazy. I would say roughly at the moment, the way the car sits, I would estimate the value to be anywhere between 120,000.
That's one time though. Like if you were just to put everything into it right now, or are you calculating like
chassis and everything?
Okay.
So let's say you buy a car with the 25.5 already in it. Definitely not looking at that much money. I mean, the chassis is the biggest thing. Obviously, that's your safety. That's, you got to pay for the whoop for fabricator and all that stuff. But let's say you get the chassis already done. I would say somewhere around half of that you'd be, But yeah, it has the 73.9 next gen precision turbo, JBR built engine. Fully built long block essentially. Tri-cartel cams, PPG dog box is what I have in it, built by Mark from GP1 Racing. Motec M150, that's the engine management system. And it's like it's a one-time thing. It's not like you just buy this engine and you're good. No, you're spending money and replacing rods probably, I would say I'm lucky to do 2 full races on an engine. We service our engines pretty often. And even when the engines are good, and that's the thing, like I've had one carnage and I was at Texas 2K and that was because we were just going and going and going and going. And like I had at least, I want to say 8 passes. The qualifiers were crazy out there, but I'm grateful for it because I got to know the car better. We got to make adjustments. Like it was just me getting a lot of seat time at that point. But that's the only time I've like had a catastrophic like hole in the block because I serviced the car. Like, if the car is performing well to me, that doesn't mean you just race it until it breaks. Like if it ain't have a hole in the block and if I've done a few passes, I, swap out rods.
Yeah.
The rod stretch after some time with heat, bearings, those are just general maintenance items. So we're constantly working and spending money on these things. So that and the luckily the transmission in this car, thanks to Mark, it's lasts a long time. Like I don't even know the last time I rebuilt it. I think I've been at least 4 or 5 races on this same transmission. So we still inspect it though. We still look at it. You're able to borescope it, take the shift selector off and we can kind of look at the gears and make sure everything's good to go. But every time we do engine swaps, normally we just crack it open, take a look at it, make sure it's good to go. But the biggest maintenance on this thing, I would say engine. So even if you spend 60,000, 70,000 to put all this together, you have to keep replenishing that. It's not going to just be that and you get to race and have fun all year long,
Right.
So that's
and you're on cast.
I'm on cast still.
Okay. Have you thought about going billet?
I did. And in my goal, I was like, once I run a 7, I'm going to go billet. So it's in the air. Right now, like I said, I feel like I'm doing pretty good with the costs. I just haven't had much issues because of the way I'm servicing the car.
Right.
But yeah, eventually it's just safer too, rod throws a rod, you don't have oil everywhere, which could cause an accident and all that stuff. So we do have a belly pan on the car, which is required. Most races require it. You should have it regardless if it's required or not. It's for your safety at the end of the day. But yeah, I definitely want to go billet eventually. That's the goal. It's just a big ticket item that I've been like neglecting. I want to give love to the Evo too. That's kind of why.
Yeah, you're kind of like in that middle phase.
I want a trans. I don't want a billet engine. It's like, what do I do? But we'll see. Maybe one day. Working towards making both happen. I'm more of a functional and realistic person as well too. Like, I don't like to spend unnecessary money if I don't have to.
I hear you. So you're big on like overbuilding. It seems like obviously too with this car, so you don't have to go back and replace things or.
Kind of. If I was overbuilding, I would already have a billet in right now. But
aside from that, what would be the benefit of even having a billet for you in your situation?
They just hold better. They, the power that you could throw at it. It's, to be honest, I would say really safety, like just not throwing a rod out of the block, which luckily it hasn't happened too often to me at all. But
yeah, which
Jamie,
could still happen though.
It did. Look at Jamie from PFI at
frustrate He blew a billet block at I think it was.
Yes, you're right. It still could
Honda
happen.
Day, H Day. I think it was.
That's
H
true.
Day.
You can still blow a hole in a billet block. That is true, but you can fix it.
Yeah,
that's the thing. If we do that, we have to go source a whole new short block.
Right.
So that's kind of where you save as well. You're just repairing a block versus having to source one every time you blow a hole in it.
That's true.
It's a lot. And one thing I want to say too, I feel like not that any of us look for credit or like we do this because we want respect. Like, no, it ain't none of that. But I don't think we get enough credit. Like, there's a lot that goes into these cars and just from driving them too. Like, we have a staging brake. We're not leaving on a button like half of these cars are leaving. I wish we could. That'd be awesome to do that. But for me, the biggest challenge in these cars is staging and launching them. Getting the reactions is very difficult in these cars when you're like letting off of a handbrake. Not impossible. You can cut lights, of course. But just not as easy in my opinion, like the domestic cars. And no hate on them. I love their cars as well. I love all builds. I respect all builds, period. Like we all put our hard-earned time and money. I don't discredit or look at. And that's one thing too. Like a lot of them look at us, and I guess it's because it's the history and the oil downs and things like that.
Yeah, I get a lot of hate. Yeah,
they hate us. I'll say it, but it doesn't change the way I look at them. I still look up to them, and one day, I would love to transform and go into a domestic car. But for now, this is my roots. This is what I started with, and I want to make some more noise and more records before leaving this platform.